If you have any fancy dinner parties that you're throwing in December, I have got the perfect recipe for you. These are my Moroccan braised short ribs. They're made in the Instant Pot. They're Whole30 and keto, and no one would guess. But what I love most about them is they're actually better if you make them the day before. And the sauce and everything is ready to go. So on the day of your dinner party, all you have to do is just reheat them in the Instant Pot. So you're not like getting all sweaty and messing up your kitchen right before everyone comes. I'm using these pasture-raised beef short ribs that I got at Whole Foods. It was $90, but this is gonna be enough to feed 6 people. So that's like what? 15 a person. So I'm getting 2 a person. They seem huge, but these shrink down a ton when they cook. I've seasoned them super generously with salt and pepper. And I want to show you guys, in case you've never made short ribs, you're probably like, oh my God, that's gigantic. That's so much food. But this whole thing on the bottom is the bone. And then there's a ton of fat that's going to cook off and render off as we cook it. So by the end, they're going to be like this big. So I always make 2 a person. I'd rather have too much than not enough. That's like my nightmare at a dinner party is people are hungry. So if anything, you'll just have some good leftovers. I have my Instant Pot on saute. I've been heating it up for like 5 minutes while I salt and peppered the short ribs. And then I have avocado oil in here. I like avocado oil because it has such a high smoke point. So now I'm gonna just get the short ribs in here and get them browning. And I'm probably only be able to do like 3 at a time so they don't get overcrowded. But all this browning adds so much flavor, so it's worth the step. So I'm just gonna keep going. This is my last batch of browning all the short ribs. And I'm gonna be honest, I've been doing this for an hour, but it's so easy. I've just been like hanging out, the kids are napping, and this is just a labor of love. This is a time to be fancy and put love into your food. But I also want to confess that as I was cooking, I realized there's no way it's all gonna fit in one Instant Pot. So I called my sister, who's my next door neighbor, and she brought her Instant Pot. So I'm gonna be splitting it between 2. In here, you can see there's a lot of fat that's already cooked off. I'm gonna drain off all but like 2 tablespoons of this. Now I've got some carrot, celery, onion, and then just whole cloves of garlic that I'm sauteing. This is gonna all be strained off. It's just to flavor the sauce, so you can do really rough chops with this. While the veggies are softening for a minute, I made the sauce. So this is just balsamic vinegar. I like this one from Costco. The juice from one orange. I got this blood orange one because they're in season right now and it's my favorite. And then tomato paste, cinnamon, and then it's also gonna be homemade bone broth. While the veggies are softening, I made the sauce. So it's balsamic vinegar, and then the juice of an orange. I used blood orange, yummy. And then tomato paste, cinnamon, and then bone broth. I'm using my homemade bone broth, but you could use store-bought or store-bought chicken stock or chicken broth. Okay, this is a pro tip if you want to be a pro cook. See all this good brown bits on the bottom? That is all of the flavor. So before I add everything in, I'm going to add in a little of my bone broth and then deglaze the pan. So I have a wooden spoon here, and I'm going to scrape it all up because I want all this flavor to be in the sauce, not on the bottom of my pan. Okay, scraped it all up. See how much darker my bone broth got? That is all of the flavor. So now this sauce is going to be like amazing. I've added the short ribs back in. This is 6. I could for sure fit 8. I could fit 2 more right here, but I can't fit 12. So I'm gonna do it between 2 Instant Pots. I'm just doubling the sauce and all the veggies in the recipe. If you're making more than 8, you can either borrow a friend or a neighbor's Instant Pot, or you can just cook them, batch them. So do 1 batch, and then after this one is done, do another batch, because I'll show you how we're gonna serve it after. It's totally fine if you cook them at different times. Last is to add in all this amazing sauce. So this is the bone broth, the balsamic vinegar, the orange, the cinnamon. And when this cooks with the beef, oh my God, I can't even tell you how good it is. A few of the short ribs are up above the sauce. That's no problem. As they cook, they're gonna shrink down and all end up in the sauce by the end, so don't stress. One other thing, I like to do them bone down, so all the meat is up and they stay together a little bit better. So now we're gonna close it up and one-handed and make sure that it's at sealing, and then we're going to do pressure cook for 45 minutes. It's going to take about like 15-20 minutes for it to get to pressure. Okay, it's been 20 minutes since they've been done. They've been doing a naturally, so now I'm going to let out the last of the steam. Okay, let's see. It's probably going to be steamy. We're going to go to Costco? Oh my. I wish you could smell this. This is heaven. Oh, Sean, come look. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna so gently pick them off. Oh, see, the bone already fell off. That's okay though. You're gonna put them, I'm just gonna keep them in this Pyrex dish. I'll put the bone in too, because why not? You're gonna transfer them all in here. Okay, so here's what I've done. All the meat I transferred into this big 9x13 Pyrex glass baking dish. All the bones are so tender they fell off, but I'm gonna save them just in case tomorrow I wanna serve them with the bone. So this I'm gonna cover and I'm gonna refrigerate it overnight. Okay, so here's what I've done. All the meat I transferred into this big 9x13 Pyrex glass baking dish. All the bones are so tender they fell off, but I'm gonna save them just in case tomorrow I wanna serve them with the bone. So this I'm gonna cover and I'm gonna refrigerate it overnight. Then here I have all of the good cooking liquid that it was in. I have it like in a big bowl with a strainer on top. So I'm gonna lift this up. You can see like all the solids are gonna come out and leave the liquid. I poured off all the cooking liquid into these quart-sized mason jars, and this is why. Can you see, like, this is all the fat. I love fat. Even for me, that's a lot. So the nice thing is these are gonna go in the refrigerator too. All the fat is gonna harden, so you can scrape off and decide how much you wanna make it in. So in the next slides, I'll show you how you're gonna reheat it the next day to serve to all your guests. Okay, it's the next morning. You can see all of the fat has risen to the top and solidified. So I'm gonna scrape all the fat off and then add the sauce back into the Instant Pot along with the short ribs. You can also see some of the fats on the bottom. The short rib meat already has plenty of fat in it, so I'm not gonna add any extra. So I'll just lift up the meat only and leave all the fat on the bottom. And then I'm gonna add the bones in too, just for maximum flavor. I've got all the meat back in, and all of the meat that I cook can fit in one Instant Pot for sure, so that's great. So now I scraped off all the fat, and now I'm just adding in the cooking juice. I added bones on top too, and this will add more flavor to it, and it'll also keep all the meat sunken down. So now I'm gonna close it, and I'm gonna slow cook it to bring it back up to temperature. So I'm gonna press, and if you press your slow cook, I'm gonna do it on low. So if you just keep pressing slow cook, it'll get to less. And I'm just gonna do it for like 2 hours probably. And then after that, it'll just stay on keep warm and it'll be ready to serve. Okay, they have just been on the low setting of the slow cooker all day and they're perfect. So let me show you how to plate it up. Here it is all plated up, and I'm trying not to scream because this is so unbelievable. So I have my cauliflower mash down here, and then the short rib, and then on top I just drizzled over the au jus. I sprinkled it with parsley, and then these are just orange zest strips. I have this little peeler that looks like this that makes long strips. You could use like a grater, or you don't even have to do this. It's just to make it extra pretty. Just look at how amazing and tender this is. It is so good. We're at the dinner party. Got everything all plated up. Got my sister and my mom and the family.
Look at what that is.
We're in for a good dinner. This is so easy. Okay, we're eating it. Everyone is loving it. Do you guys love it?
I love it. I made it before, but yours is better.
There you go.
The authentic taste. So